Hello, I think we are live once again. Welcome to another Caring Counts episode. Our goal with these is to connect people in memory care because the more connections you have, the more support you have. Caring Counts is brought to you by Applewood Our House. Well, today we have Teepa Snow, creator of the outstanding program Positive Approach to Care. Teepa is a forefront expert in dementia. Teepa, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure. It's always great to work with people who get that connecting is the primary way we get things to happen.
Yes. And also today we have Barbara Stewart. She also is one of our house managers at Applewood Our House. Barbara, thanks for being here.
Great to be here. Thanks, Taylor.
Perfect. Teepa, well, I'd love to start out if you could tell our audience just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm an occupational therapist, and I have over 40 years of clinical experience. But before that, I actually helped take care of my grandfather in our house as a kid and a teenager, and then later other family members. So long history in dementia and geriatrics, and that's the background.
Great. Well, the program that we talked about, Positive Approach to Care, is incredible. And I think it's absolutely amazing. Here at Applewood, we actually follow that program pretty closely, and it's great. So let's jump right in here. My first question for you is, this is a big field. This is a big type of care, right? But what's one thing that you want people to know about dementia?
The one famous phrase is, you've met one person living with dementia, you've met one person living with dementia. There are things about dementia that happen to a lot of people. But what we should do is when we first meet a human being that's potentially living with dementia, we should be curious about the human being. Find out about that human being and their story and their life and their preferences. And as we're doing that in a supportive way, figure out, what are they able to do and what are they having trouble doing, so that we can be effective in providing what they need so they do well and we do well. If we miss our cues or miss those opportunities, that's where I think we run into confrontation and challenges, because we missed that you're a person first and then you develop brain changes called dementia. And for everything you lose, there are things you keep. And I better figure out what you still have, because that's what you're going to use. And I better also figure out what you've lost so I can figure out where you may need some support and what that support should look like for better outcomes for both of us.
And you mentioned cues. What are those cues that I missed?
So, something to drink. So before I gave the words, I held up my mug and I gestured to it beside my face to indicate something to drink. And then I said the words. So what I gave first was a visual cue, and then I provided verbal. And then if you were to say, so say you did want something to drink, what would you say when I said something to drink?
No,
you're not thirsty. Ooh, would you like to go somewhere with me, or do you want to stay here?
I'll go somewhere with you.
Oh, cool. Now, that was called choice. And so what I did is a verbal. My cue was, would you like this or would you like that? Not what do you want to do, which is a much more challenging thing to respond to. So I gave you the verbal cue of an either or. And then when you said, come with you, I went, oh, that's called enthusiasm. Oh, good. And then I'm going to gesture and actually stand up myself to signal, guess what you just told me you were going to do? You were going to move. Okay, I'll start moving, so you start moving. And so it's visual cues, verbal cues, and then physical assist or physical cueing.
Right,
to help
right.
people get.
And that's on your side, Teepa, you're giving cues. What about the cues that we might miss from the person with dementia?
Yeah. And so, Barbara, your face right now. you're like, I'm missing. I want to make sure I get something. So me picking up on that and going, oh, so you're wanting to know about what would happen for the other person.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's a really good question. Yeah. So what I need to do is notice, does she look puzzled? Does she look excited? Does it look like she got it? Does she reach for something? Does she say, I don't know what you want me to do? And her volume is higher and her distress is there. It's like, ooh, something I did got her to a place where she doesn't feel comfortable and she doesn't feel like she's getting something. So I'm sorry. Oh, so you're not sure what I want. I'm not very clear. Yeah. Hey, Barbara.
Yes.
Now, what I did is I recognized something's not okay. And then I restarted because I gotta slow myself down. Your cue or your signal is giving me a signal back. Or if I'm going, then you might want to say, hey, Teepa.
Do you want something to drink?
Yeah, exactly. And so you notice my visual cues, my verbal cues, or my physical movement cues, and you pick up on it. And you don't judge my cueing. I mean, you don't go, well, Teepa, that was a little loud. Could you bring it down? Or, Teepa, that was rude. I was talking right then. Because if I'm interrupting, it might mean I have a vital thing right now that if either I'm afraid if I wait, I'll forget, or it's such an important thing to me right now. I need you to quit doing what you do and pay attention to what I'm trying to ask for. And it's a request. I mean, before I might have said, excuse me, I know you're trying to talk, but I'm really having a hard time. It's too loud in here. And I might instead go, shut up. You all need to shut up. And of course, then I'm viewed as a problem instead of somebody saying, it's too loud. You don't like it. It's too much. Yeah. And it's just what do I recognize? I recognize they have an unmet need, and I recognize the loss of the ability to control an impulse. Like I said, that's going to be the trick is how do I notice what they do, acknowledge the skill, recognize the missing pieces.
Great.
Now it's a full circle to what they have and what they've lost.
They can only use what they have.
Right.
And once I start accepting, that's what they can do right now. Now, it may not be what they could do in 10 minutes or what they did 15 minutes ago. It's what's available right now, because this thing called dementia is chemical and structural. And people get their heads in one place or the other. Well, she's always different. It's like, well, she is, but part of it is because her brain is dying, and part of it is because her brain isn't always firing on all cylinders. So whatever she's got in that moment, she'll use. But I can't expect her to have something just because the brain scan looks like X, or she did this yesterday. I've got to be willing to say, yeah, but not today. Okay, where are we?
Your observation skills are almost on overdrive. Maybe not overdrive, but you're honing in your observation skills.
It's called work for a reason. And I've got to find joy in the work or it will wear me out. And I will usually say not everybody's meant to be a care partner for somebody living with dementia.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's because they aren't equipped with that ability to see things from another person's point of view. And sometimes it's because they're too close to the person and they're grieving the loss of what was, and they don't want to let it go. And they're holding on to something that isn't there anymore. But it frustrates them. You did this, Mom, Barbara, look at me. I'm not going to call you Barbara. You're my mother. Why should I call you Barbara? Well, because in this moment, unfortunately, the part of your brain that recognizes my relationship isn't working. And me calling you Mom isn't helping. Me saying, Barbara, and you going, hey.
I know.
I'm the lady that came to see if you want to get your hair done.
Oh, my hair?
Yeah. You usually like to get it trimmed?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell you what, I'll take you.
Okay.
Well, let's go. I'll let them know we're heading out. And what I don't say is, Mom, come on, we made this arrangement. Remember, you asked me for da-da-da-da. I let go of all that because not right now. You were real excited about the haircut, and then you didn't sleep last night because you're really excited about the haircut.
So that, if I could jump in here, we just got a comment from Malou. She's asking, how do you help families with guilt and expectations, especially when it transpires in so many different ways? I think that's what we're touching on right now.
I think training, getting families training, we do staff training. We don't think about doing family training nearly as much as we should, because frankly, they should be our partners in care. And when we put them in a separate box, like they are no longer the care person, we are going to be the care person. We are sort of taking something away that maybe some family members don't want to give up. And we also don't give them a place to be other than a visitor. And so I think helping families wrap their head around it generically. What is dementia? How does it happen? And then, so what have you noticed in your mom? What kind of things have you noticed she's still doing? Well, she's not doing this. And it's like, yep, you're right, she's not. But what is she still doing? Helping them see what's there versus what they're missing. And it's how we frame it. Acknowledge what they say, but then move on to what they're missing and see, well, does she ask to go places? Yeah, she wants to go home. Do you think it's the home she lives in or lived in right before she got here, or the home she grew up in? Oh. And so all of a sudden, for some people, that's education. It's like, oh, because they've never thought of it. Maybe it isn't just going back home to where she was right before she moved in, and the guilt that some families feel about this placement, because it's one of the hardest things many families ever have to do in the world of dementia, is to give up being that care provider or to feel inadequate. And so I think sometimes, raising people up and giving them those opportunities to become a little more knowledgeable and to try some things. And if like, all I want to do is visit, okay, that's cool. But if you want to have a different kind of relationship, figuring out how to help families with that, letting go of the guilt because we give them something else to do that has some value for them.
And I think your absolute comment about involving them as a care partner, but also speaking to the what they still have, what they still can do, and how you may need to change how you're relating with that.
Yeah.
And the stepping away from being the daughter,
yes,
but being just a person who's come to visit them.
So helping families realize, come in with props. Instead of coming in for a visit, come in with a prop or two. So what are 2 or 3 things that your mom usually likes to look at? What are a couple of things she likes to talk about? Let's give her some visual props so that when you come in, ooh, hey, it's Teepa. How are ya? Now, what didn't I say, even though I so wanted to say it? Mom. I didn't say mom because I don't know. I said, it's Teepa. And I offered a big hug. Now she gives me a hug. How are you doing? You look good. Look what I brought. And I don't bring up who she is to me. I said my name for her. I said, it's Teepa. And then
And it may or may not make the connection to daughter.
It may or may not. It doesn't. I'm not here just because I'm your daughter. I'm here because I love you and I want to be with you. And that opportunity to say, I don't need you to know me. I know you. And to recognize that value in me knowing you. And me knowing, as a matter of fact, if you look at this and go, I love those colors, I still know you. I still know you. And I get the joy of being able to demonstrate I still know you. And I show you this one. I go, look at this one, though. This one's too schmaltzy, eh? And we look at the 2 of them and you go, I would never buy that. And I say, yeah, me either. But somebody bought it. I guess it takes all kinds, huh, Mom? And see what you do in that moment. You go, Mom. And I go, oops, shoot. I made a mistake and realize uh-ohs happen. I think the other thing to help families recognize uh-oh doesn't mean an oh no. An uh-oh is an uh-oh. It's like, oh crap, I just put my foot in it. You know what? We all make mistakes. Get over it. I think guilt comes from thinking nobody makes mistakes. And it's like, we all make mistakes. They're called learning opportunities. It's only when you do it over and over and over, and you don't change anything, that you go, hello,
Right.
Are we engaged here? Because I'm going to make mistakes, because it's another person with a brain that's not my brain. It's not my brain. I don't know for sure what her brain's going to be like in this moment. I mean, yesterday when I came, I said, hey, Mom. And she goes, hey, sweetheart. Today I said, hey, Mom. And she goes, who are you? Oh, you're wanting to know who I am. It's Teepa. Well, isn't that funny? I have a daughter named Teepa. It's like, huh, whoa, knock my socks off. I mean, because what just happened is, for the very first time, my mom isn't sure who I am to her. Now, in that moment, I hope somebody on the staff noticed that interaction. And as I go away from my mom, they say, you did a great job. That was really hard. And I hate it for you. I hope someone takes that moment to realize, when we're caring for someone living with dementia, that family member who stepped up and just found out, I've lost another piece. They need us as much as the person living with needs us to be in support in that moment, to offer support, because it's a lonely place to be a family member who walks away from the situation and doesn't necessarily have anybody to go to.
Right.
Because they gave up a lot to be that partner until that care became too much. And without us stepping forward, I mean, who's there for them?
Yeah. Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit about how you help the families and friends know whether or not it's dementia talking, or if it's real to the person who is talking to them, but how does the loved one or the friend or the family member, how do they know?
Yeah. And so one of the things I always start with is the idea that I start with anybody, which is, so could you give me a phrase that probably is dementia talking? Or you be the family member, though. Who's
Well, so I'm hearing what's being said. Well,
Yeah.
Mom just told me that she hasn't eaten in 3 days.
Oh, no. Okay. So your mom just told you that she hasn't eaten, and it was 3 days she hasn't eaten?
That's what she told me.
That's what she said. Wow. Well, that you got to have been worried a little bit when you heard that, huh?
And it doesn't seem like that's what you guys do here. So
Yeah,
I'm
so
confused.
It didn't quite make sense. I agree with you. I'm thinking, what's happening? Does your mom love when you come and spend time with her?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Does she miss you when you're not here?
I'm pretty sure she does.
I'm pretty sure she does too. Here's what I'm wondering. It's been a little bit since you've been. I'm wondering if her goal of saying, I haven't eaten for 3 days. If you thought your mother hadn't eaten for 3 days, would you come to find out?
I'd want to be checking on her more often.
You want to be checking on her. And so her brain may be saying, how do I get my daughter here? Now, she's not doing it on purpose. I don't think she's doing this deliberately, but I think her brain is magnifying time. Like, I want dinner, I want lunch, or maybe I'm missing my daughter, because she's losing some of the abilities to say specifically what she's feeling. And yet she's feeling something. And she wants somebody she loves and knows about her to realize something's not right. So what she is telling you is something doesn't seem right. So
Right.
Tell you what, I'm wondering if it would help. Let me head on up, and maybe we could call you once I get upstairs. And let's see if we can figure out a little bit more of what's going on.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So what did I do that was helpful, Barbara? Because I think that's what we need to get smarter about, frankly, is how to help both people. Because a message got sent, and it was a message of distress. I could say, no, I just took her to lunch. like an hour ago. I mean, she's got back to her room.
So I would say, one, you validated my concern. And you said that I must be really concerned. And you understood that if I thought that was true, I should be concerned.
You should. I would agree with you. And so I'm saying I would have that same level of concern. You're not a strange person, or you're not listening. And that's really important.
Right. And then you went on to actually come up with some possibilities of what might be underneath what she was saying. So what she was obviously distressed about something.
Yeah.
And then you went to solution. So you actually did like 3 steps there.
Yeah. And so you got that I know your mom. I care about your mom. I get where you are. I know you a little bit, and I believe in you. And we both believe in your mom. So something's there. So I think we should figure it out. Not, I'm going to go fix the problem that you couldn't figure out. Not, you know, your mother has dementia, right? I mean, it's not, I mean, none of that. And it's like, well, why would we not? I mean, I just took her. I mean, I wasn't arguing. I didn't give you data. I actually was supporting you, supporting your mom, and trying to figure out, wonder what's going on here that, you know, or I might say, well, let me look, because I'm pretty sure I just saw her in a dining room a few minutes ago. Let me double check. I'm wondering, though, if she's feeling a little lonely or something. Let me do some checking, though, Barbara. So if I don't have the time to go right then, I still want to support both of you. And that means I want to reassure you, but then I need to go check on this situation. Something happened, so I don't know what it is. Is she in the room and turned around? Is she, she's go to the bathroom and she's not sure where it is? I mean, there are all kinds of possibilities with a broken brain. And I don't want to make assumptions, but if she's talking to her daughter right after lunch that she hasn't eaten for 3 days, I better go figure out a little bit of what's happening. Maybe she shouldn't go back to her room right away. Maybe she should sit down in the dining room and talk with her daughter. Maybe I should, you know, connect with her before she leaves. I don't know. But if it's happening in a pattern, we want to also look for patterns. If we start to see patterns of this kind of thing, we want to go, hello, I think we got a pattern going on here. Let's see what's changing for her.
And how do you help families see those patterns?
Thoughtfully. What else? You know, I'm wondering, Barbara, I'm really curious, because we've been starting to notice something with your mom, and I'm wondering if you're noticing it at all. Because it's mostly happening in the afternoon. And it seems like around 3 o'clock or so, most afternoons, she seems to really get a little more anxious, and she starts asking, do you know when they're going to be here? Do you know when they're going to come? And I know classically you don't get here till like 5, you know, right after you get off work. I'm wondering whether, do you know if in her background and her history at all, 3 o'clock, that time around 3 o'clock, was there anything in her life that 3 o'clock, somebody got home, somebody was supposed to come, a special event or a routine or something?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Way back, kids used to get out of school around about 3 o'clock.
Oh, was she a housewife? Did she stay at home with the kids?
She was certainly there when we came home.
Oh, so I wonder what arrangements she had to make to get there. So she was there when the kids got there, huh?
Yeah.
So, and I'm wondering if she really is starting to wonder when you're going to come, but she's getting a little turned around in time. And so she starts anticipating you're coming, but it's you coming as a kid, not you coming as an adult.
Well, and you know, she has approached things in that way too. That makes absolute sense. She starts talking about when you get bigger. When you
the kids, and I'm looking, you know, what are you going to want for you? You know, what do you think she'll want for dinner? But she's talking about you in second person or that kind of third person. Yeah.
And I just hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah. So it's easy to miss. And, you know, if she hadn't started this sort of getting sort of more anxious and distressed, I might not have noticed it either. Thank you, because it was so helpful to hear. Yeah, she did used to do a 3 o'clock. Okay, so now we need a new game plan, hey?
That sounds great.
Yeah, let's
suggestions.
Can we put our heads together? Because, you know, that waiting for you 2 hours is a really long time for her. What I'm hinting at is we need a change of plan here, because that 5 o'clock time coming visiting, ooh, boy, does she get anxious. Shoo-wee, 2 hours. What I didn't actually 2 hours, 2 hours, this goes on. That's my thought, but I kept that inside and didn't say that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we can, if we can outline maybe the similarities and differences between, I think we just outlined the family member talking to like maybe the community, right? What if it's the loved one talking to a family member in a very similar dementia talking situation? Okay.
Barbara, you want to give it a shot and be someone who's got dementia and is sharing information with me? I've got a feeling you're pretty good at this, or I can, one of us could try it out here. We both have some tread wear on us.
Okay. Give me a prompt.
Somebody's stolen something, maybe. That's a very popular, coming in your room or doing things they shouldn't, that kind of thing.
Have you seen my wallet? I always keep it in my purse, and those kids were in my room.
So your wallet, your pocketbook wallet, that wallet of yours, it's gone.
Yeah, it's not in my
well, that's not okay. So, and there were kids that were in there, and so I bet you're wondering if the kids took it, huh?
Well, I mean, absolutely, they must have taken it.
They must have taken it. Wow, I didn't see any of that. But tell you what, let's check out what's going on here. Now, before we get anybody in authority involved, I wonder if we should double check to make sure it didn't get put somewhere hidden in the room somewhere where people were messing around with it and they got it somewhere and they put it somewhere. Can we at least look?
Sure, but shouldn't we call the police?
Well, we probably might, but let's just double check before we make that phone call. But I can call them, but I'd like to double check if we could. Can we do that?
Yeah. I don't think we'll find it, but it was there.
I agree with you. Absolutely. And it was, and it isn't. And you know what? Let's look. And if we can't find it, I'm going to fill out a report, because a report does need to be filled out when something like that happens, for sure. Now, how'd that feel? Did you feel supported?
Yes.
Yeah, who hid the wallet? Just by way of information, if you do have a wallet in your purse, who hid it?
Me.
It was not me. It was not me. I wasn't in. There were no small children. Could be Lewy body, could be Alzheimer's with some distress. But what's happening is she was scared and she hid something. And the problem is it could be now, or it could have been 30 years ago that something like that happened. And it may be an old wallet, an old story. It may be a new story. But whatever it is, she's in distress. And so I'm going to respond to her level of distress and see if I can figure this out.
The validation piece, that was the first thing you said. I hear this is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, because if we don't acknowledge what people say, they get louder. Because if you don't say that I heard you, I think I got your message. Did I get your message? Then they keep sending the message. And it's like, we got to let them know we got the message so we can move on.
And you also were very clear about the fact that you hadn't seen it. You took responsibility for not seeing it, not invalidating or negating what I said. There were no children.
Right. I didn't say that. I just said there were no kids. What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense, Mom. Or that didn't make any sense, Barbara. I mean, I said, I didn't see him. I didn't see any of that going on. I am so sorry that happened, though. That shouldn't have happened.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, it didn't happen. Your brain made crap up and it's fake stuff. But what's that going to do? It's just going to make us not like each other. And that's not going to help you be okay. But I'm not going to lie to you. I won't say, oh, yeah, those little kids. Yeah, I saw them too. You know, they get in everybody's room and take stuff. You know what? I bet they hid it in the closet. I mean, that's a little too far over the edge. That's called a big whopper. And I don't do whopper lies. I just don't always tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I try to share the truth I know your brain can handle. Because if your brain can't handle more truth, then why tell you something your brain can't handle? But I'm not going to lie, because if you catch me in a lie, you won't let me be with you.
Yeah.
And knowing what my brain or what their brain can handle in that moment, that's where it takes work. That's the experience, right?
Yeah. That's, you try something, and if it doesn't work, you go, okay, so that part's not firing right now. So if she can't hear any of my words, I've just got to switch to sounds. Oh, no. Oh, shoot. Barbara. And then I'll just go to Barbara, because our first names are one of the very last value words that will disappear from somebody's vocabulary. Our first given name, our preferred name, is the one thing people living with dementia will tend to hold on to until the very end. I may not know I'm your mother, but Barbara, I know me. I know the me. And so learning to use what they have is what, for me, it truly is all about.
Mm-hmm.
That is beautiful. I'd love to.
It is what works. That's all I can tell you. It is what works. And it also gives us the opportunity to find joy with people and to find pleasure with people and not get so distressed about people. They're in enough trouble. We don't need to be distressed with them. I mean, we want to support them and help them find ways out of distress, families and people who are living.
And I have seen where the person without dementia starts getting distressed, and it actually completely exacerbates the situation.
It does. I didn't steal your purse. Why did you say I stole your purse? I would never take your purse. Mom, that is ridiculous. You want to know what you did with that? You put it in the trash. That's what you do all the time. Well, that's working really well. You know, it's like, or I come to you and I say, I didn't take anything out of her room. It's like, I know you didn't. I know you did it, but I know she can't find something. Well, I know, but I didn't take it. Yeah, that sense of being accused. So sometimes we have to support our staff too. Support our staff.
Yeah.
So the three things that we kind of covered in those two scenarios, that we started with the validation, what were the two other ones? Just so we can kind of recap that kind of section.
The second is this affirmation that something happened that it shouldn't have happened that way. An acknowledgement of what happened was not okay. So I'm acknowledging not only the things she told me, but how she felt about the things she told me. That's not right. And then I came up with, now, before we call or try to get up with the police, I'm wondering about double checking to see if maybe it just got hidden somewhere. Because I offer up the possibility of the probability. But if she says, no, I just want to I want to talk to the police. Well, let's write up a report so we can get it to the police. Help me write it up. So it was a wallet. Was it green or something else? And then we'll start collecting details. Because when someone takes down a report, collects data from you, it says, wow, you're important enough. Your words are important enough. I write them down. I hold on to them. I put value in here. And it allows you to share that distress. And we get through that. And then I'll say, I'm going to file this. And you know what? We're going to figure this out.
And the underlying theme of the whole thing, Teepa, is making the other person feel valued.
Yeah. Because they're scared. Something's not right for them. And what we've got to acknowledge in that moment, something's not right. Their brain is misfiring. It's giving them fake information. But there's an underlying something's not right. And we do want to figure that out. And it could be that sense of not being valued or being violated in some way. And the problem is I don't know their whole life story because they can't tell me anymore. They can give me pieces, but it may be shaded or colored or hidden, or people hide a lot of things in their world because I want to appear a certain way. And dementia robs me of the ability to hide. And sometimes things come popping out that surprise us all.
Right.
So what is one question that you would like to have asked more frequently regarding Alzheimer's and dementia?
What can I do that is helpful versus what I'm doing? because I wish people would recognize if something isn't happening well, rather than believing that the person living with the condition is the one who's causing trouble, wondering if there's something I can do that could be more helpful. Because I just feel like I'm not helping the way I would like to. So I would love to have people ask me, wonder what I could do that would be more helpful. Because
That's
I
a
think,
hard question to ask.
I know, because we all like to feel like we're doing a good job. And yet if it's not working, blaming the person for what's not working and instead going, this isn't working. I think I could use some help. Acknowledging the need for assistance, I think, is one of the least recognized and least asked kinds of things. Let me help you is much easier than I think I could use some help here. Could you help me is one of the most powerful phrases to use with a person living with dementia. Listen, I could really use your help. Would you do me a favor? And by saying that, I say, wow, are you valuable? Boy, do you have skill. So by being willing to say, listen, I could really use your help. I'm not sure what to do. People get to feel empowered. And to me, that's one of the most wonderful things to do is to be willing to ask the question, could you help me? And I think having family members or staff ask that question for people who are living with dementia. I'm wondering if, you could help me and how could I be more helpful? That combination.
That value-added piece is really important.
Yeah. And it helps us form community, which is really what dementia is going to take, is community of care. I mean, we've got to have a whole community supporting one another. It's not just supporting the person who's living with. I mean, we've talked about supporting families, supporting each other, because there are going to be moments when I need a timeout, I need a break. I've worked with Barbara for like 7 times today on this wallet thing. And I'm afraid if I try it again, I mean, she's really stuck on it. And I don't know what else to try. Can somebody help Barbara while I help? You give me somebody else to help, because I'm good with helping somebody else. I'm done. I can't figure out what else to do. And I feel like I'm just in a loop, and it could be me. I don't know, or it's something. Let's try something different.
Well, we just got a comment in that's speaking to that kind of loop from Sue. She's saying they're so busy caring and we can't get away to ask for help. It's a vicious cycle. Teepa, can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I think sometimes we become Robin Hood or we become the Lone Ranger, and recognizing I have a huge favor to ask. Listen, who can I help you with while you do this? Because I'm really curious what happens when you work with Barbara, because I'm really struggling. It would really help me if you would work with her and then tell me how it goes for you. Because I'll acknowledge we both need to get work done, but then I have to decide to make time to reconnect to my partners. And I've got to choose. I've got to make that choice. I need us more than I need me to do something else. I need us to become us so that we start to work with one another. There's an old phrase, many hands make light work. And I think sometimes we get in our own lane, and I'm trying to get my work, my assignment. And I forget to look up and look out every so often to say, how's everybody else doing? We're all exhausted. Wow. Maybe what we need to do is go, we're all exhausted, and go, yeah. And it's like, yeah, we are. So what are we going to do with each other and for each other to take that down a notch?
It transcends dementia and Alzheimer's.
It actually is just good practice as human beings to be able to look up every now and then and look around and go and say, how's everybody else doing here? Because me doing well with others doing badly, or me doing badly when others are doing well, maybe I should reassess, where am I? Where are they? How are we all doing? Because maybe we all need a little pause. Maybe we're just getting too busy doing stuff and we forget to be friends.
Yeah.
It's easy and it's hard. It's this really hard thing. It's easy thing to say. It's a hard thing to make yourself do sometimes, especially when you get stressed out. But pausing and saying, Barbara, I really loved how you did that role play with me. That was so helpful. And thank you for asking the questions that way. That gave us a great, thank you for taking that comment, that question. We forget the most important thing sometimes is to say thank you when people do things and to acknowledge what they did provide. And suddenly the door opens up and we start noticing each other a little better.
Right.
Teepa, your insight is incredible. Thank you so much for being here and answering our questions. If you have any other questions for Teepa, you can, of course, pop them in the comments here and we can get you connected. We'll share Teepa's resources as well. Speaking of Teepa Snow and the wonderful work that she does, we have our Caring Counts annual event coming in the beginning of October, October 12th through the 16th, every day at noon. It's going to be online. We're going to do a virtual
That was a sigh of sadness. That was a sigh of sadness. I'd rather be with you, but
I know. But we're excited. We're excited to keep our event going. This will be our second annual event, our first online one due to COVID, but we're going to have a Caring Counts Alzheimer's and Dementia Conference. It's every day, October 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th at noon. You can register via our Facebook page or online as well. We can post the registration link in the comments. Teepa, Barbara, thank you for your time. Thank you for answering my questions. Your expertise is awesome. I just thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for running this, offering this, and making this happen to both of you.
Thanks, you guys.
Of course. Thank you so much. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll see you in 2 Wednesdays. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.